Hey masters, welcome back to JoanMedia. Today I have a very interesting video about Jenkins and pipelines. We are gonna be creating different stages, right? As you can see, the build stage, we have a testing stage, a deploy stage, and this particular stage, the testing one, we're gonna be using our Cypress project to, well, trigger a kind of regression, right? And also we're gonna be using a post build actions to, well, kind of publish our HTML report over here, right? So when you build with this with parameters, you can also specify the spec file that you want to execute. In this case, as you can see, you can specify any string here that have or actually matches the expected value, right? And also you can also choose the browser that you want to execute. You can do it in Chrome, Edge, or Firefox. So let's go ahead and create a new item here. It is gonna be a pipeline and it is gonna be named example. Then we're gonna click on OK. Then we have the configuration part, right? And I'm not gonna be configuring anything at general or build triggers or advanced project options. We're gonna be focusing this video on pipelines. We can script or actually define our script over here, right? We can do a pipeline here and well, specify all the stages and the steps and all the stuff over here. But also we can create a Jenkins file and, well, kind of upload this in a repository so you can make changes to your pipeline in a version system, right? Like GitHub. So in this case, I'm gonna be using this repository, which is Cypress Demo Framework. And as you can see, I have two branches here. The main one, I already have a Jenkins file, the one that I'm gonna try to explain you today. But also I have another branch, which is the YouTube branch over here. And in here you can see that I don't have any Jenkins file, and I'm gonna be, well, working with you to create it, and we'll try to explain you some basic concepts, okay? So let's go ahead and configure the job, right? The pipeline job. So instead of a pipeline script here, I'm gonna be using a pipeline script from SCM, and then we have to specify the SCM, which is gonna be Git. Here you have to specify the GitHub repository, so you have to come here and specify that. Then instead of, or actually if you need your credentials, you have to add them here and then choose the one that you need. And then instead of using a master branch, as I told you, I'm gonna be using the YouTube branch, the one that I don't have, where I don't have my Jenkins file. Then you have to specify where the Jenkins file is going to be located. In case you have it inside of a folder, you have to do this folder name Jenkins file, right? But in this case, I'm going to be creating the Jenkins file in my root directory of my project. So let's go ahead to my Visual Studio Code. As you can see, this project is actually the project that I just showed you before. In this case, I am on the branch YouTube, right? And so I'm gonna come here and create a new Jenkins file. Okay, Jenkins file. It is important, and I really recommend you to go ahead and check the pipeline syntax document, where you can have a lot of more insights and information than the one that you're gonna receive here. Basically, we have two types of pipelines. We have the declarative pipeline, and also we have the scripted pipeline. As you can see, take a look of this syntax and then take a look of the pipeline or the declarative pipeline syntax. Let me check that. It is different. I don't know if you can, well, look the difference. I'm not sure. I really recommend you to go ahead and check this, because there are like two contrasts, right? Two different ways to do this. But as I'm telling you, we're gonna be use a declarative pipeline because I think that it is easier to understand this with this syntax. So the first step or the first line that we have to include here is the pipeline kind of reserved word, right? To specify all the actions that we want to do in the pipeline. Then in this case we have to specify, or actually always you have to specify the agent, and in this case it's gonna be any. Let's imagine that you have a Jenkins kind of environment, and you have different workers working with this master Jenkins. You have, or you can specify different labels for any machine, and you can specify which stage you want to execute depending on the agent. But in this case, it's gonna be agent any, because right now I just have my Jenkins, kind of machine, right, to work with this. So it is gonna be redirecting all my job to this node, the only node of Jenkins that it is gonna be recognizing, right? Then we have to specify the parameters. In this case, we're gonna have two types of parameters. You have more of them. You can have booleans, you can have, I don't know, a lot of stuff, actually passwords and so on. But in this case, I want to have a string one. Here we have to specify the name of the parameter that I want to use. This name is gonna be the spec, okay? We can specify this in this way. It is important to have a kind of a standard name, because it is gonna be used as a kind of variable for future usage. You will see why. Then we have to specify a default value. Okay. In this case, the default value is gonna be the default script that I want to execute in case I don't send any parameter to the building job, right? So I want to execute all my Cypress scripts that I have under integration. So I'm gonna using this, okay? And then we have to set a description, okay? And the description will have a kind of instruction or a guideline for the users that I'm gonna be building the job, right? So enter the script or scripts that you want, the script path that you want to execute. There it is. Now I also want to have another parameter, which is gonna be a choice one. Okay, the choice parameter. Here I have to also define a name, right? The name is gonna be browser in this case. The browsers that I want to have will be an array, right? And the array will have Chrome. We're gonna have Edge, and then we're gonna have Firefox. There it is. This I think that I missed something here, and it is the parameter choices. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to define the key choices over here. Then also I have to set the description, and the description will be choice the browser where you want to execute your scripts. Okay, there it is. Now that I have my parameters ready, I think that the next step that we have to do is set the options. I don't know if you check or actually you watched the last video, but we created a freestyle job, right? And we configure it with this option here, which is color ANSI color output, and we set the ANSI color map to Xterm. It actually helps us to have better logs and have colors and more stuff in our logs when we check it, right? So we can do this manual and UI configuration in our Jenkins file, just setting ANSI color Xterm over here. There it is. Now that I have the options, I think that we can start working with the stages. Okay, the stages will have different stage. The first one is gonna be, for example, deploying. And inside of this, well, since I don't have an application to deploy, I'm gonna be doing an echo, and well, echoing building application, right? Building the application. Then we have another stage where we're gonna be doing something, right? Which is the testing stage. And in this stage we're gonna be doing different stuff actually, right? So we're gonna be using different steps. And since I'm working in Windows, we're gonna be using bat as a kind of way to work with the CMD, the console that Windows have. In case you are using Linux, you maybe want to use shell, right? So SH is gonna be the word that you want to use that there, right? But in this case it's gonna be bat. And the bat, we have to specify that I want to install the dependencies, the local dependencies, and then I also want to, well, execute my scripts, right? And now here is where it is interesting, because I have to do the npx cypress run, right? And in this case I have to specify the browser equal, and of course we have to do a kind of Chrome or Edge or Firefox, right? But in this case I'm gonna be working with a parameter, and the parameter name is gonna be the browser that I have here, right? So there it is. And then we have to also specify the spec that I want to execute. So in this case, and I'm sorry, it is not equal, I think, right? It is just the browser itself right there. And then the spec is gonna be equal to the spec that I have declared or have as parameter in my parameters over here, right? There it is. And then we have another stage here, which is, let me just close my door. And the last stage is gonna be deploying, right? I'm sorry, it is gonna be deploying. The first stage is gonna be building, I'm sorry. Yeah. And the deploy stage, well, in this case, I just have to make an echo to, because I don't have anything to deploy right now. So it's gonna be deploy the update or the application, right? There it is. And then I also want to do the same stuff that we did in this well, kind of freestyle project, right? Which was to publish our HTML report. Okay, how to do this? There is a way, which is going to your pipeline project, right? Go to configure and then look for the pipeline syntax option at the bottom of the configuration. And here you can have a kind of step templates for your Jenkins kind of Jenkins file or Jenkins syntax, right? So in this case, I'm gonna look for publish HTML reports, and well, the same stuff that we did here, right? With the UI, we have to specify the HTML report, the directory where we are gonna have the final report. We have to specify the index page, and also in this case, I want to have or keep the past HTML report in every single build. So as soon as you have done this, you have to generate the script, and you can, well, use this in your pipeline syntax. But in this case, I want to use a kind of post, which is gonna be the post build actions. It is gonna happen no matter if the stage testing fails. It is gonna be executing always, right? And inside of the always, we have to paste the command that we have configured before, right? And that's a basic pipeline Jenkins, right? Using a declarative style. I hope that you're understanding what I'm doing. It is pretty simple, I think, and it is an introduction for you guys. I hope that you enjoy this. Please subscribe and let a like. So let's continue with this. I think that the next step is just pushing this to our repository, right? So we have to add it, then we have to commit it. It is gonna be Jenkinsfile, new Jenkins file, right? Okay, and then we have to push it. Git push origin YouTube, right? And there it is. I think that now we have the YouTube, actually the Jenkins file in our repo, in the YouTube branch, right? There it is. And now we have the Jenkins file over here. There it is. And what is happening here? I know it is the main one. So let me check the YouTube one, and new Jenkins file was pushed. And there it is. I think that we have the stuff that we need now. So let's go ahead into our job, right? In the example, the pipeline example, and we can build it now, right? The first time that you do this, you're gonna see that we have an error here. And if we check the logs, it is saying that no flow definition can run. But I think that it was the first time that or I did something wrong. Let me check. Number 2. Console output, no flow definition, cannot run. Let me see what is happening here. Oh, I see, I didn't configure anything. Huh, I don't know why. Let me see, I didn't configure the job, I'm sorry guys. I don't know why. Git, the repository URL was here. Until here. Then I have to specify that I want the YouTube branch and then save. I'm gonna build this again. We're gonna have a kind of failure, of course. Console output. We have an N. Okay, let me see if I did something wrong in my Jenkins file over here. Oh, right. I didn't close this. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm gonna just send the change again. Git commit. It is gonna be Jenkinsfile fix. Git push origin YouTube. And let's build the job again. See if the job number 4 opens. Of course, it's gonna failing, right? And now we have another issue here. Let me see. What is the issue? Unknown stage sections echo. Oh, of course, I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of distracted. Inside of the stage, always we need to declare a kind of steps, right? Or a step or steps, but in this case I want to use steps. I'm sorry guys. Even if you only want to do an echo, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. Steps. And we're gonna be doing the echo inside of the steps section. There it is. Let me check this. Git commit steps fix in the Jenkins file. And then the push, right? Let me just build again my job. I'm sorry for this guys, but I think it is important because are things that I missed and could be helpful for you. Let me see. Right now it is working, but it is returning failure because it didn't. This is the first time that you run this. You're gonna be having a failure because we haven't configured the parameters, right? But when you do this correctly, you can check that when you go to the configuration part again, you have a kind of the parameters here, right? As you can see, we have a kind of choice, and now we can do it. Now, if I go ahead with the build parameters, right, I can specify the script that I want to execute, and also the browser where I want to do it. So let's imagine that I want to do this in Edge. And I want to execute this. I want to execute my POM example, right? So I just have to paste this here and build. Let's go ahead and check what is happening. Okay, let's see the flow right now. It says that it cloned the repo correctly. The building part, it is echoing the building the application string. But in the testing part, we have an issue. npm. Well, guys, this is or there are things that I missed. I'm sorry. npm doesn't exist. Of course, it is npm. I'm sorry. So it's gonna be at commit npm fix and git push origin YouTube. That's why it is important to have peer reviews, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and build this again with parameters. I want to use the POM, and let's see if it works or not. Okay, it cloned this correctly. The building was working fine, and now the testing part is in progress. Let's see in the logs what is happening. Okay, it is running our test right under using Chrome as by default, right? Because I didn't well, kind of specify something. It was Chrome, and also it is overriding the Jenkins file, right? Because if you remember, if you check this, the default path was this one, right? However, it is using the one that I specify by string over here, right? Yeah. So well, right now I have a kind of issue in the first step, right? In the first validation. We're gonna take a look of that. It is executing still the other scenarios. Hamza's demo, there it is going well. And then I think that, as you can see, it is archiving our HTML report, and that's it. I think that if we go back to our pipeline example, you can check this. The testing part fails, and by default the deploying part also failed. There is no echo over here because the testing part failed. And the post build action, of course, happened and basically publish our HTML report on our 7 build. And as you can see in the HTML report here, we have the issue, right? In the first validation over here, it is saying that when it was looking for something, it should have detect products. But of course I did this intentionally, right? It only should have an 1S, right? So I'm gonna go to my integration folder, to the POM one, Hamza's spec, and instead of 2S, right, I'm gonna be only using 1S, right? So I'm gonna send this to my repo, git add, git commit spec fix, right? Then I'm gonna doing a push origin to YouTube, and I think that if I execute this again, right, I'm gonna be build with parameters again. I'm gonna be executing just the POM spec, and now in Edge. All right, let's see if it works or not. Okay, let's go ahead and take off the log file. Well, it has cloned the last commit message, right? The spec fix over here. It is building the application. That's the stage of building, right? And well, the test is in execution right now using Edge, as you can see over here, right? That's good. And now, well, it is working fine. The test was fixed correctly, and the other tests also work correctly. Now it is configuring the other stuff, and as you can see, the last build is success, right? And also, if I come here to my HTML report, you can see that everything is green because everything was good. And guys, that's basically an introduction about pipelines. I know that it is a bit long, and that's why I'm not gonna show you this yet. How to send this message, the success or failure, to a Slack channel. Probably it is gonna be done in the next video. But I really thank you for watching this until the end. And I hope that you leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe, because we have more videos to come and a lot of more to understand and learn. Thank you very much. This was JoanMedia, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.